Eric Höweler+Yoon Architecture from Boston. So we were invited for a design competition to think about the space, and the way it was framed was really interesting. It was like, what's the future of work? The brief from Hanley Wood was, help us think about the way we work as a company and what's unique about this company and the different types of work that are happening here. You know, when we first presented, we presented a concept for the whole floor. We understand that there's a desire to do, a segment at a time, potentially to sort of test things before we roll it all out. We imagine it is a kind of culture shock to go from having a private office to going out in the open. So in a way it helps people acclimatize a little bit. So the outer liner was something that allowed us to sort of subdivide the perimeter in terms of like enclosed versus open, enclosed versus open. We also worked on the inner liner, which is the area around the courtyard. So we pulled the offices and the desks away from the inner courtyard, making it sort of a space you could flow around freely. And I think locating benches or counters there, I think will also give people an excuse to get up off their desk and come and hang out there and have an informal meeting. And I think the color of the materials are going to encourage daylight penetration. So we really think it'll open things up, and it'll feel airier, lighter, hopefully. So I think it will be a radical transformation. I think some of those ideas came from Hanley Wood. The idea of like, let's have a big area where people can sort of gather and sort of not just gather, but sort of a kind of a point of information, where information would sort of be concentrated. And so the radar desk was something that was proposed, and we loved the idea. We talked about gradients of work, so from sort of open lounge spaces to kind of more formal desks to kind of cubicles to private offices, a whole gradient of work ecologies, we call them. And how could we sort of create these different workspaces, to work collaboratively, to work independently, to focus, to write. We can't predict how people will take to their new ecology, but we think it'll be interesting. And we do think it is a trend that's happening, that people will need to sort of learn to work in more open spaces. And the exchange of information is somehow more important than the kind of acoustic privacy of individuals or the kind of sense of hierarchy that comes with a corner office.